I don't know what to say. Um, should I welcome you or should I welcome myself back into a position of sharing information and consciousness once again with viewers like you who are searching for some sort of uh, increase in awareness and identity of self and understanding of self-awareness, whether from the past of who you knew me to be or the present of what is now here when I am doing this, or even in the future for those who happen to find their way into this stream of consciousness when it is their time to do so. I have been very absent for pretty much all of the last 2 years, minus a few appearances not even worthy of being made. But the fact is, now I am present, and here I am hoping to share with you something that is very important and is quite vital to what a lot of us are hoping to accomplish with our mission of consciousness here on Earth. What's going on is that I took it upon myself, consciously and quite often unconsciously, to sacrifice my consciousness in order to go deep into the depths of what is actually the darkness within Earth, within the solar system, within humanity, and our communities at large. So, yes, I suffered through addiction, and most of it was self-afflicted, besides the fact that I had also suffered through several severe traumas, early childhood traumas. And for someone of such a level of consciousness as myself, and for somebody who knew and was well beyond any frequencies of addiction years ago, to have re-entered into that might have been considered and should have been considered crazy if it didn't bring me into certain experiences that were completely necessary for the soul that I carry to have had, to have experienced, to have encrypted and released into higher consciousness, lower consciousness, consciousness of all levels within us and outside of us. The fact is, Earth is still worried. We all know that there is a danger humanity possesses this ability. Okay, and that was weird, so I'm not really sure what stopped or when it stopped. But going back into humanity's ability to destroy, in some of my higher consciousness levels of my early 20s, I directly experienced through ecological projects in South America, through sociological and medical projects in India, that we have depleted huge percentages of what used to be an immensely diverse biometric field of energy and consciousness that we live within and share with each other, and most importantly with the earth. So we've already proven our ability to be a danger. But what we have also proven And what we were gifted with was our ability to be caretakers and to create consciousness that can actually help aid in the evolution of more easily obtainable abundance for all humans, for all species, for all etheric consciousnesses, physical, non-physical, whatever. We have this ability to create a level of light that can feed a lot, and to imagine different material compositions like a Rubik's Cube to create various technologies that can allow for even a more abundance. But what's going on is that there's this conflict. And so I myself went through this huge conflict humanity suffers from, whether to use this consciousness ability and huge access to higher forms of light to self-indulge and gain for personal reasons, or to use this consciousness and this great awareness and ability to connect with higher light and higher dimensional consciousness, even lower dimensional consciousness, to then turn around and serve the ecosystem, the communities, ourselves, and the world at large. So what are we going to do? How are we going to solve that? Unconsciously or consciously, I went through incredible and vast shifts of consciousness, from being at the outskirts of human trafficking and sex slavery to going into the depth of capital slavery and immense poverty, far worse than most slaves when slavery existed, non-capital slavery existed. The poverty that some people deal with now is worse than that situations in which we abolished, but we didn't abolish the actual core reasons, the core source of the problem that allowed slavery to be fine. Because now we would have people who would probably accept and choose to become slaves because their actual quality of life is so low and so horrible and so pathetic that they would get beaten a few times a week. They would do and work for nothing but food and a place to stay and security. That at least they're going to be kept alive with the bare minimum essentials to keep them powerful and strong enough to think properly about the work that they have to do and physically be capable to do the work they have to do. We have huge populations of people who can't even think properly because they're so poor, and can't barely do anything because they're so weak because they don't have that nutrition. Is that what I'm here to talk about? No, not exactly, but it has the huge foundation of what I really need to get to. And the truth of the matter is, I have been pinged with a light consciousness of awareness, a God consciousness, possibly from a universal level, down into my individual spirit, to once again awaken me when I was near the point of letting go of any need to be of any service to anyone or have any purpose in this life at all. Even though I always wanted it and I felt horrible without it, I was willing to let it go so I wouldn't have to feel so horrible that I didn't have it. Well, that was the climax of what I guess the Great Spirit or the infinite inner spirit was waiting for, to be able to ping that light right back on. And here's a major issue. All of the people who are actually close to me in my life have absolutely no faith, zero hope, and what I would consider nothing but next to constant negative projections onto me that would do nothing but cause great difficulty in me accomplishing this goal, which I was told by either galactic or universal consciousness, or whatever you would understand God to be, that I must complete. And so I'm releasing this understanding that there is in fact a great deal behind the symbology of the lotus, and the reason why one of the oldest spiritual traditions on earth has denoted that flower as the most sacred flower that exists, and why so many of us in the spiritual community and even non-spiritual communities who just have some sort of desire to be a little more self-aware feel like, wow, the lotus flower is actually something beautiful and meaningful. And the symbology of it is that it grows from the muck, it grows from the dirt, it grows from the darkest water that exists, and what it produces is the whitest and brightest flower of any of the flowers. So, my choice or not, what happened was I experienced pretty much the worst of all human nature, whether political riots, whether close to actual warfare, even though we all know enough about warfare and the lies that brings, complete poverty, capital abuse of nature and humanity, addiction of chemicals, and the political, business, personal, social, and communal reasons behind that. Experience the darkest spirits that exist on this planet, ones used for such levels of deep and horrible witchcraft, and I've turned them into beings incapable to do anything but serve light. And who I am has a lot to do with that. I don't really expect many people to believe this at this point, but I went by Shaman Shiva. I went by Shiva for a long time, and if I could explain, Shiva, he was a angel of the sun, basically star consciousness incarnated in human form. But he was also incarnated due to a connection with the Pleiades, which we understand as the Seven Sisters, I believe now. But back then, it was only the six. And he went through this whole cycle of illuminating 6 women on Earth and doing this whole thing. You know, there's a whole bunch of stories, there's a whole bunch of mythology. Should I get into that or not? I don't know. Who cares? Bottom line was, he chose his time to exit this planet on an eclipse that would connect him not with the Pleiades, but you may guess it, the Star of David. So he wormholed far out of the solar system and into the consciousness of the Star of David, because he already held Palladian and Earth consciousness and was an amazing being who did amazing things here. But there was something to be learned there about the solar system, which has like 9 planetary I'm not going to go into the whole cosmic reality of it all. I'm going to keep it human real quick. There was something in the Star of David that was able to teach one of the qualities of 13 and how to access the 13th dimension, which is a dimension that by one dimension surpasses the spatial and time relativity that a star holds in its consciousness. So it's like the first step into a star collective or a star cell consciousness. It's like what you have to do to become food for a star cell. You have to understand the 13th dimension. Well, that is why he wormholed there, to understand the 13th dimension and then come back to Earth and hopefully bring this consciousness of what it takes to be not limited to planetary consciousness and the consciousness of a planetary being, while living the life within a certain star system. Because wherever you're from in the galaxy, wherever you're from in the universe, if you don't understand the 13th dimension and what it takes to get into a star cell, then you'll never be able to bypass the laws of a specific star system as a planetary being, and Earth a human. So he came here with that consciousness and was in the process of developing it when we all know what happened. But of course the story we're told and what we really know what happened could be diddle or dot. Really means nothing, except that this great person was killed, and in reality he was killed using very, very elevated levels of dimensional consciousness, hoping to actually completely eliminate his life so that it would never be able to come back and disrupt the control that certain beings had on the Earth and within the solar system, or maybe even other star systems, although I expect the Star of David has no problem with a planetary being surpassing that level of consciousness to bring greater galactic and universal consciousness into the system so that the system itself may evolve. Unfortunately, here on Earth and in the Sun, with some of the angels that are part of the lunar, solar, and planetary consciousnesses, they want complete control, and they don't believe they need to evolve, because that allows them to suck energy out of any beings that come here during specific alignments that happens during galactic and universal movements. Anyway, his death, which lasted about 4 lunar cycles, a moon cycle before the equinox, 3 more lunar cycles to the solstice, where they believed it would be impossible for his light to escape the solar system if he was killed on the solstice, the darkest day of the year, where it would be most difficult for the light of a planetary being to escape the star system it was currently incarnated in. However, they didn't know that having already understood and completely processed 13th dimensional consciousness, that he was able to bypass that law and just was allowed to go through his cellular and atomic consciousness and disappear his spirit and his light through dark matter that is not able to be perceived by our angels that supposedly are protecting us, but have been keeping this world and this star system under a very, very dark spell. And whatever planetary beings that have been serving them, the Catholic Church and other such entities, have been receiving material, useless value in order to maintain that this state of life where we don't need to evolve, because, well, we can continue to be ourselves, but be basically drugged by the higher consciousness of galactic alignments when they connect with our system. And I say our system because I live here now. Well, turns out, through the cellular and atomic consciousness, to the disappearance of all life and the certainty of these systems, the angels above and the people who were doing their dirty work, that light was completely extinguished, and they made up a whole bunch of stories about coming back on this day and that day, and basically the whole history is crap. Why they did it, I could pretty much tell you, but it'd take a lot more time than I want to spend on that in this video. What happened was, the consciousness was able to then re-emerge as a 7th star in the Pleiades, or within. Hold on, let me just. There's some sort of disturbance of energy around me, which is keeping me from being able to feel comfortable sharing what I want to share. And that energy is going away now, so be patient with me. If it knows it's not allowed or wanted, it is unable to stay by higher universal law, especially when such consciousness is being released and truth is being omitted. So, back to what happened. This energy was allowed to go and begin to rebuild itself, I believe, on either a lunar or planetary or dark star, maybe like a type of moon that actually is a dark star. Again, the confusion is coming to me because I know this and I knew it just before, but the confusion is coming to me because it's not really that important in this moment, and this video has already gone on far too long. It has to be, the point has to be made soon and now. Consciousness can't be destroyed once it reaches certain levels. Okay? Even though there's a lot of consciousness out there that knows how to destroy consciousness. A couple things you really should take from this video. Going up into your higher selves. Less than 5 people on this planet right now have access to 9th dimensional consciousness. That's planetary consciousness. That's being aware of all of what the planet is and has to know, and ability to access all of that. Four people are aware of 12th dimensional consciousness. That means that they are here in order to help solve this problem that apparently the consciousness of the sun is going through, or maybe it's been hijacked by some sort of other consciousness, but they have access to this. They're basically stars incarnated into human bodies. So I would say five people are pretty much planet condensed and concentrated into humans on the planet right now, and 4 people are stars. It's possible these are couples. And then we all know there's a whole bunch of star seeds, which are beings from other star systems here. Of course, they're, they're much more evolved, and they're capable of accessing, higher intelligence and this and that, because they come from more liberal and more free star systems, and now that they're here. But it's something very different and special to be such a large consciousness condensed into such a tiny form. Myself is something quite a bit more special. And a few things that some of those other very special beings that exist on the planet right now might not be able to explain to you is that your cells within your body have a very intelligent consciousness, almost as intelligent or even more intelligent than star consciousness. And if you are of a certain level of being, you can even go deeper into the infinite inside yourself and connect with atomic consciousness. And as a planetary being, connecting with atomic consciousness would be like a planetary being connecting with universal consciousness, bypassing galactic consciousness, bypassing organs of galactic consciousness, collections of galaxies that have a certain role in order to serve the universe, and going directly to universal consciousness. That's something you really need to know, because we've been being taught so much to look up and go into these higher dimensions, and really what we've been getting is a whole lot of illusion. Why? Because this star system is currently under this spell of a very, very dark energy that destroyed the being 2,000 or 3,000 years ago that came here in order to bypass this dark energy and allow much greater galactic energy to enter the system and create evolution far beyond where we are now thousands of years ago. That wasn't allowed to happen. Right now, that same being is back. And there's very little or nothing that could stop it from breaking through that darkness and allowing levels of consciousness and evolution that were long ago deserved to be found in our lives. But we can't forget the danger of how close we are to destroying ourselves based on our pollution of the earth, our abuse of the earth, and most of us with consciousness sitting aside and allowing those who don't know enough or care enough to continue to do that, when eventually the earth, who has her own consciousness, will decide, damn, these humans, I loved them, I had complete faith in them, but enough is enough. They've become a disease, a virus, and what does a being do when it becomes aware that it has a disease and a virus? It begins enacting its immune system, and it begins releasing aspects of itself that will help destroy that disease and virus, so it can go on and continue living its life and experiencing the beauty that all life is and light and consciousness is, whether you're a human, whether you're a planet, whether you're a star, a galaxy, or the entire universe. We all love the experience of light. It's amazing. It's beautiful. But there's this whole manipulation here that has caused the vast majority of humans to basically hate life. And that's just unnatural. That's weird. That's strange. So if you're here and you know you're a star being that really loves life, and you're starting to really dislike life because of just like what goes on Earth, and like what this is and that is, and what you have to deal with and that has to deal with, know that your emotions and your conscious awareness of your fourth dimensional self is much more powerful than you could ever believe. Maintain hope, maintain faith, maintain joy, and maintain love, as much love as you can for as many people and experiences in the past, present, and future as possible. Especially those looking to do good, and even more so those looking to do bad. Because that vibration will go out and transform on a cellular level, which is something that some of these dark magics are unfortunately unable to really mess with, since recently, when they develop chemicals that could really cause damage on a cellular level and could potentially wreak havoc, but have no chance in doing so. Because why? The faith of the universe is so strong that it was willing to put its faith in a being much smaller, to go ahead and get its cells as addicted as possible to as many chemicals as possible, and then prove that through consciousness, through the emotional body, and through an ability to communicate with cellular consciousness and atomic consciousness, that all of those genetic transformations, all of those manipulations of cellular consciousness that cause defects in cellular reproduction, cancers, diseases, and obviously hereditary genetic diseases, could easily be defeated, made null, and have no consequence whatsoever. The universe had that faith. And I have that faith. And I went through it all. And I've seen the darkest of the dark that this planet has. And my heart, the power that can keep higher dimensional dark consciousnesses from going deeper into individual physical, mental, cellular, and atomic consciousness. The joy. The faith, the belief, the love that my heart possesses is an impossible force field for that darkness to ever penetrate. So, if the solution has been created in a single being, planetary, genetic, planetary, genetic, and cellular law allows that information is going to be spread rapidly and quickly, because that's a solution the Earth desperately needs. And the Earth is going to connect with those energies and allow those energies to begin to appear in beings that had no awareness that those energies even existed. Why? Because what is energy? A field of oneness, we all connected. So I talked a lot, but to end this, I really need some help, and I really need some faith from some of you guys. And what needs to happen is that a project really needs to be produced, because yes, there's some alien technologies here, and yes, there's extraterrestrial, I don't know if I should have said alien, there's extraterrestrial technologies here, and yes, many of them were given to people who want to do good with them, but also some of them were given to people who want to do bad with them, and there's some very certain technologies that have a very, very, very dangerous and scary potential that the people involved in trying to produce them from what they received from outside intel, outside consciousness, have no idea what they're doing. So we're on a little bit of a time limit, and this project, which I would love to call the Human Lotus, 360 days to detox the earth, needs a lot of help, because there's no way in hell I could ever do it myself. But it's coming from me, and I'm hoping that I can share it with you, and that you could share your belief in maybe understanding that this is a pretty cool idea, a documentary about how to detox the world in 360 days, going around discovering technologies that could save the energy crisis and global warming and emissions, while finding ecological projects that could revert the destruction of health on a cellular level has happened and caused so many new diseases like childhood diabetes and different levels of cancer and this and that, through transformations in how we produce our agriculture and ecological projects, and what we do with farming on a local level compared on a massive capitalistic monocrop level, to human miracles and miracles produced by the abilities that one might get once such levels of consciousness is concentrated into such in small being, yet so very significant. So there's tons of possibilities in this, and there's tons of ways for good people to make money in this, and there's tons of ways for that money to go back into prolonging the inevitable destruction of our earth, so that those who are creating the technologies but still want to make enough money so that they can live better than most people, and that's nothing wrong, because that's the world we live in, that's how we've been programmed, and that's why they might have been chosen, because anyone else who could wouldn't have been able to make the money to probably produce the technologies to be able to then release them in the right amount of time. But lots needs to be done. I've said so much already. I just want a few people to connect with me who were like captivated enough to sit through all of this, and I would love for them to help me brainstorm, what would be best for this project of the Human Lotus, and how to detox the earth in 360 days, and then what type of content we could create on various multimedia streams and social networks in order to prepare to launch a Kickstarter campaign to fundraise hopefully $55,000 to $75,000 to jumpstart this and get it going until it receives enough recognition that those with even more money decide to support such noble and honorable cause. So you see, it's very possible, and I've been given quite a route and path to make this happen. But I repeat again, there's no way I can do it myself. And I need help immediately, and believe that there's a certain number of people out there who maybe should meet with me in Ohio, because I think Ohio has a lot of nature or open spaces that don't have too many frequencies or things messing with them, and it's pretty cheap, and we could spend some time there meditating, evolving ourselves, and planning for how to produce this project. That's all I gotta say. Letting it go with that, and hopefully uploading to YouTube now. Meditating, evolving ourselves, and planning for how to produce this project. Namaste. I love you guys so much, and that's what we need more than anything, the love for each other. And then, of course, the love for yourself that will create the faith that you know you can take a risk that could kill you, but you have enough faith in yourself that whatever money it costs, whatever risk it takes, you do it, you will succeed. And the fruits from that sacrifice, labor, and faith will produce exactly what the world needs in order to survive, or humanity needs in order to survive, and evolve past this darkness and become united with the galactic consciousness, and stop being a drain on this galaxy and its purpose and service and what it needs to do for the universe, because it's really hurting. And here we all are with everything we need, just a whole lot of love and a little bit of faith, and we can heal the disease in the galaxy and allow it to start serving the universe like it needs to do, so that, who the hell knows, so that, what that would mean, because that's just consciousness, wow, universal, alright, maybe some dark matter inside of your atomic consciousness knows. Go deep in there. Maybe you'll figure out what that really means. Again, I love you so much, but please, need your help, and let's get on it quick, because a lot needs to be done before the eclipse, like more than you could ever imagine. This is super serious. Let's get it done. Do it. Contact me in Ohio, like Nebraska, California, New York, I don't care. Whoever feels it's important and has a place to make it happen, let's make it happen. The universe does count on us. Really, on a fourth dimensional emotional level.